Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. Honestly, one of the greatest books I have ever read. If you want to change your life, get this book. It's in the description. I'm serious. If you want to change your habits, change your life, read this book. Take incredible notes. I'm telling you, it's really worth it. So let's get to it. So, first thing, only about 10% of people who buy books read more than the first chapter. And then, what is it, like 10% of the population actually buys books? So if you read past the first chapter of a book, you're in the top 1% of learners in the country. That's incredible. So NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is basically what this book is about. And it's what really made things click for Tony. It's all about, it's the difference between those who fail and succeed. And that is the ability to put oneself in a supportive state. That's what NLP does. It allows you to change your state into a positive, resourceful state rather than getting caught in those negative thinking loops that happen so often. And the pathway to excellence is through modeling other successful people's beliefs and actions. This is another huge thing, huge point throughout the book. If you want to be very successful, look at those who've come before you and done it, and just mirror what they did. It's, success leaves clues. So the power of state, like I said just before, a resourceful state is absolutely key. Olympic swimmers, very high performers, they play the same songs before they go race, etc. They have these really routine things that get them in this resourceful state, very positive frame of mind, and then they go out and they take care of business. Because empowering beliefs unlock the door to excellence. 7 beliefs of excellence. We got number 1, everything happens for a purpose and it serves us. Life happens for us, not to us, type of thing. And there's no such thing as failure. I really like this, what he said, treat your excess weight as a success. It's something you produced, right? So then therefore you can change it right back because, oh yeah, I was successful in getting fat, so I can change it right back. It's easy. I really like that. Whatever happens, take full responsibility. It's not necessary to understand everything to be able to use everything. You don't need all the knowledge in the world. There are specialists for that. People are your greatest resource. Work is play. I have this new theory, formula, way of living life where I think people are so serious in their jobs and they have a lot of fun in their personal lives. I think it should be switched, right? So people should be having all the fun in the world while they're at work, and then be very serious in their personal lives, at least in their personal growth. So be very serious with growing, learning, all that stuff, getting better as a human being. Have a lot of fun at work. And I'm not saying don't have fun at home, but have fun at home definitely with your family and children and spouse and whatever, friends. But be more serious in your personal life and have fun at work. And then there's no abiding success without commitment. I think, everyone knows that. So we can change state by changing our submodalities. So if we associate cleaning the house as a fun challenge, and then you'll clean your house and you'll have fun doing it. That's all you have to do. So his technique for doing this is, closing your eyes and imagining like in a little frame in a window, cleaning the house and, saying, oh, it's not fun. It sucks. It's the worst. And in another window, imagine something that's very fun, and then kind of just like switch them. It's a very interesting technique, and I think you should definitely read about this more. And then, so communication styles and how people learn, we got the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, right? So you have to learn what people respond to and then communicate with them through that if you really want to be an effective communicator. So visual people, how to identify visual people? They talk very quickly because their speech can't keep up with all the pictures in their heads. And they say things like, I see it like this. A lot of like I verbs, I guess you could say. Auditory people talk a little bit slower and deeper pitch. And they say things like, that sounds good to me. And then kinesthetic people talk very slow and very deep. And they say things like, this feels right, kind of thing. And you can learn people's strategies by eye movements. So when you ask them about things, they're trying to remember, if they look up, they're more visual. If they look side to side, they're auditory because they're remembering things by their their sense of sound. And then if they look down, they're remembering things by their body movements, so they're kinesthetic. And the best sales strategies have a little bit of all three to get people to act, but there are many loops from 3 to 16. So he says, in order to get him to act for fast food, he would see a sign for KFC, he would feel his stomach growling, and then he would hear the KFC jingle, right? So his loop is visual, kinesthetic, auditory. So that's what gets him to act, right? And so for some people, it could be the same. Some people could have 16, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, visual, kinesthetic, it can go on and on. So the best sales strategy is the most effective way to communicate with people is to put a little bit of all three in there, because we all have all three. We just have, a dominant one. So, and then a good way, if you're having trouble sleeping, your mind's racing, talk slower and in a more tired, slow pace. And then you'll fall asleep. Same if you want to be awake, talk really fast, talk really excited. Yes, let's go. Oh, I'm ready, and you're more awake. It's easy. And physiology is the quickest way to change state. This is huge. So you could spend all the time in the world figuring out what makes a person tick, but you could also just change their physiology. So tell them, look up, chest out, shoulders back, take up space, breathe deeply, breathe calmly, and voila, you fix them into a resourceful and positive state. Because he says, a lot of psychologists, and so for example, like a marriage counselor, they go in right off the bat, oh, what's bothering you, do all this. They're getting the people into a negative state right away. They're making them think about all the problems. Whereas he says you should get people in a positive state. So say the psychologist says, oh, how were you feeling when you first fell in love with this person? And then their eyes perk up, they get into a positive state, and then they can solve problems better, and because they're thinking more clearly in a positive and resourceful state. So I like that a lot. I think it's very, very interesting. Change your physiology, and you can disrupt those negative thought patterns. Breathing technique, a 1-4-2 breathing technique. He says this flushes out toxins. So I have added this to my meditation routine. It's quite good. So we breathe in for 1, hold for 4, out for 2. And you can do any multiples of this. So 1-4-2. You could also do a 2-8-4, or even a 4-16-8. As it gets higher and higher, it gets harder and harder because you have to hold your breath for longer. And breathing out is what's hardest for me. Like having a really controlled breathing out, it's very difficult for a long time. So it's a really good technique for flushing out your toxins, changing your state right away, changing your breath. And on a diet, he has a lot of good diet advice. So just eat butter-rich foods. Fresh fruit and veggies should accumulate 70 to 80% of your diet. That's what he thinks. I think I agree for the most part. And a good stat: 1 in 3 Americans get cancer. 1 in 7 American athletes get cancer because of their effective breathing, working out, eating healthy, all those, that lifestyle. Also, all of the biggest animals are herbivores, and herbivores live longer than omnivores. So think of, elephants, giraffes, rhinos. What do they eat? Grass all day. So just think about that for a second. And a key, he says, eat fruit only on an empty stomach, and only eat fruit until 12 p.m. and just see what happens. Your body will cleanse itself, and you will feel good. I have been doing this, and it does feel good. I only eat fruit on an empty stomach, so right before my workout, first thing in the morning, and then that's I just have like 1 to 2 servings of fruit right then. Feels really good. And so he was really big on food combinations for ultimate living. So his big thing: never mix protein and starchy carbs. This is because protein is digested with acidic digestive enzymes, and starchy carbs need alkaline digestive enzymes. So they don't mesh, and then you don't absorb your protein, and you don't absorb the vitamins in your starchy carbs. So he says avoid that. And then greens and veggies, they can be eaten with anything. So they can be eaten with protein, with carbs, or fat. And fats inhibit the digestion of protein. So don't eat them together unless they're with veggies, because veggies will offset fat. So what I've been doing recently when I eat my starchy carbs, so I'll have like just sweet potato and a vegetable, right? So sweet potato and broccoli. And then when I have my protein, my meat, I'll have chicken, broccoli, and an avocado or something like that. So uh, just taking away the protein and the starchy carbs. Don't combine them. Also, don't combine any fruit. You know, only eat fruit first thing in the morning, and then don't eat anything after like 20 minutes because the fruit needs to digest. If you eat something too quick after you eat fruit, the fruit will rot and it will cause bad things in your stomach. And then never drink liquids with or following a meal because it messes up with your digestive juices. So drink between meals, drink a lot between your meals. And if you're eating water-rich foods, you won't need to drink as much water. That's a pro tip. And also controlled consumption, so the less you eat, the longer you live. And guys, also these food combinations, this book was written in the 80s, so science says there's no need to eat like this because our stomachs can handle anything. For the most part, I do agree. However, if you have any real stomach troubles, digestive issues, autoimmune disorders, maybe, I do recommend eating like this because our digestion isn't as great. When I had alopecia areata, the holistic doctor, what she gave me? She gave me a digestive enzyme specifically for acid digesting, which means protein digestive. And I always used to have meat and a sweet potato together. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. And then excess protein causes fatigue and does not give you any extra energy. Also, protein is very high in uric acid, at least animal protein, about 14 grams per serving. And our bodies can only excrete 8 grams per day. So what I've been doing actually is I've changed my diet where I only have animal protein once per day. And I feel a lot better. You don't need as much protein as you think you do, I'm telling you. And leukemia patients have very high levels of uric acid. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a correlation, causation, I don't know. And then in Yale's 1953 graduating class, only 3% of them had written goals. That same 3% were worth more than the other 97% combined. That is a wow note. When I read that, I literally closed the book, threw it on my bed, and just let out a big scream of excitement because I write my goals down every day. I think it's extremely important. I try to preach it to everybody else, but they don't seem to listen. So get very specific, write down your goals. Although I do have some bad news after doing research, it appears that this may not be true and there may not have been a study. So that's very, very disappointing. But I have heard that many, many times. So I don't know. I think it's still true. And so when you're writing goals, there are a few things, state your outcomes in positive terms, be as specific as possible by engaging all the senses and writing down a specific date and time when you'll achieve it, and have an evidence procedure. So know what you will look and feel and what you will see and hear in your external world after you have achieved your outcome. So once you achieve your outcome, know what you'll look like, smiling, how you feel, good, strong, and see and hear, maybe beautiful sounds, other people saying they love you, that they're so proud of you, all these things. Really get specific with this. And be in control of your goals in your life. This is just simply beneficial for everybody. And there's only two pains in life, right? The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline definitely weighs ounces, and regret weighs tons. I'm telling you. Pay the price of discipline. It's a very small price to pay. It's incredibly, incredibly worth it. So the 12-step goal set. Number 1, take an inventory of your dreams. So what do you want to have? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to share? Estimate when you're going to complete all of them. Pick out your 4 most important goals for the year and your reasons why. And make sure they abide by the 5 rules of writing goals that I just went over. And make a list of important strengths, skills, resources that you have at your disposal to get these goals achieved. And then focus in on times where you use the list above most successfully and describe them. So a time in your life where you used all your resources to the best of your ability and you were very, very successful in any endeavor. Write this down and describe what you did and how you can do it again. Also, this is huge. Describe the type of person you'd have to be to attain your goals. So if you want to work out, if you want to be really healthy and fit, you have to be the type of person that doesn't miss a workout. Simple as that. And also write down what prevents you. So your past limitations, your personality traits, skills needed, and your obstacles. Then take out each of these 4 goals, separate them, and create a step-by-step plan to achieving them. And include something that you can do today to get started. Come up with models. So extremely successful people who have achieved these goals that you want to achieve, and write down one main idea or piece of advice that you think they'd give you. And then imagine a time when you were totally successful at something. Close your eyes, imagine a clear, bright image. Notice the submodalities, notice how bright it is, how you feel during that moment. And then imagine you achieving the new goals, put it in that window. This will make everything more real. And then create your ideal day and design your perfect environment. These are crucial to achieving your goals. If you want to become a reader, buy a bunch of books. Simple as that. Create your ideal day. Say, I'm going to read in the morning, first thing. I have so many books to read. Pretty good. And then on daily journaling, I love this quote. Absolutely love it. If your life is worth living, it's worth recording. Great quote. That is like just the number one reason why you should journal. And then the science of the ask. So ask very specifically. Ask someone who can actually help you. Create value for the person you're asking. Ask with a focused, congruent belief that you'll get it. And then keep on asking until you get what you want. So that's the art of the ask. And then with communication, we use a lot of fluff words. We tend to use a lot of fluff words. And making assumptions is simply the mark of a lazy communicator. So get specific, right? So when people say, oh, Mary's depressed. No. You're making an assumption. It should be, Mary, she's 32. She's sitting to my right. She's got her ice cream and her shoulders are slumped. She's breathing shallow. Doesn't mean she's depressed. You're using lazy language. Maybe she's just sad. Maybe she had a rough day. Maybe she really enjoys ice cream. I don't know. Could be a myriad of reasons. Assuming is lazy communication. Then he has this hand precision model to identify lazy language and fluffy talk. So the pinkies are the universals. So always, we will use always and never. That's lazy talk because there's always an exception to the rule. Most of the time, there's an exception to the rule. And so ring finger is your limitations. So when people say, I should, I shouldn't, I can't, or I must, what causes or prevents that? What happened if you didn't? What happened if you did, So those are limitations. Middle finger is the verbs. So when you say, I want to do something, like, how specifically are you going to do it? How are you going to get that done? And then the pointer finger is the nouns. So a lot of people talk this, they blame they. They're making my life miserable. They're usually referring to like the government or the New World Order or like the world's rich or something like that. So who are they? And what specifically are they doing? And your thumb is too much, too many, too expensive. So compared to what? Okay, this course is $2,000, but how much value is it going to give? Compared to what other course have you seen that gives you this sort of value for $2,000? Kind of like that. And then use outcome questions. So rather than why questions, ask questions, because the why questions just get reasons. They get explanations, they get excuses. So ask what questions. So don't ask the kid why he's bad at algebra. Ask him, what do you need to do to perform better? So this gets our problem solving brains working rather than wallowing in our sadness. When why can't I do this? No, think, how can I do this? What can I do to make this happen? Much more resourceful thoughts. And then mirror like crazy. So everything about a person. Some people say that it's manipulative, but it's just truly getting to understand someone and become them. And then if you're understanding someone and becoming them, why would you want to manipulate yourself then? So I thought that was a good point. And why mirroring is so important, because communication is only 7% what we say, 38% are tonality, and 55% are body language. So if we can mirror people's body language, you're already 55% them. Then if you can mirror their tonality, that's another 38%. And then if you can mirror actually what they say, repeat some of the phrases and the words that they use verbatim, then you can truly and effectively communicate with somebody. Then this is on meta programs. So this is how people process information. Number one is moving toward or moving away. So it's risk versus security. Do you want to gain pleasure or avoid pain? And to know where someone is on this, ask them what they want in a job, car, house. I want a stable job, benefits, all this stuff. They move away. They like to avoid pain. If somebody says, "Oh, I want to own my own business, I want freedom, I want to travel the world," they move towards. They want to gain pleasure. And their internal or external frame of reference. So where does your proof of doing a good job come from? Do you have to be externally validated by someone else saying, "Oh, that's a really good video"? Or do you internally know, "Oh man, I really did a great job on that video"? So that's another way. And then, do you sort by yourself or do you sort by others? So do you always think, what's in it for me or what's in it for others? And to find this out from somebody, you can tell if someone's really truly paying attention to you, then they probably sort by others. And if they're not, they're kind of off in their own world. That means they took what you said and are thinking about, "Oh, how can I benefit from it?" Then we got matchers or mismatchers. So matchers are repetitive, mismatchers are flexible. Matchers find the sameness first, mismatchers find the differences first. So what's the relationship between what you're doing this month and the last month? And if you come up with a bunch of differences, then you're a mismatcher, you like flexibility. If you came up with a bunch of the same things, then you're a matcher and you like repetitiveness. And then what it takes to convince someone. There's two parts to this. First is sensory. So how do you know when someone has done a good job? Do you have to see or watch them do it? Do you have to hear about how good they are? Do you have to do it with them? Or do you have to read about their ability? And then it's how often. So is this immediately, a number of times, over a long period, or consistently? For me, I like to do something with the person, and then I have a low trust, so I have to see that their quality consistently. So yeah, and then you got possibility versus necessity. Options, experiences, and choices. This is the possibility person, starry-eyed dreamer, or the necessity person who just does something when they have to. They're more detail-oriented, and to find this out, you can ask them about their favorite work experience and why. And another communication tip on how to redirect conversations or arguments, say "and" rather than "but." When you say "but," you just negate everything you just said before. So just keep on saying "and." And then pattern interrupts. I love this one. This is good. Use confusion and strange tactics to get people out of their negative thought patterns. So what he said he would do when he had a patient come in, talk about their problems, whatever, he'd say, "Okay, what's the problem?" So they start talking, and immediately shoulder slump, head down, talking in a different tone. And so like one of the first words he said, "Hey, we haven't started yet." And then they perk up. Like, what? So he immediately changes their state. And it gets to the point where they realize, "Oh, my physiology is changing my negative thought patterns. So maybe if I just stand up straight, look up, smile, maybe I'll get into a more resourceful state and be able to solve problems in a more positive light." Also, he said sometimes after his patients be talking for a little bit, he'd just start barking like a dog just to interrupt their negative thought pattern loop. I thought that was just genius, because then the person starts laughing, and really good way. And then the 5 keys to wealth and happiness. Number 1, you must learn how to handle frustration, because on the other side of frustration is success. It's really the truth. Must learn how to handle rejection. This is huge as well. You must learn how to handle financial pressure. A good way to do this is give away 10% of your income off to charity, off the top, just to show yourself, "Hey, I have enough." It's very big, very big. You must learn how to handle your complacency. Always learning, growing, keep getting better. You're still watching this video. I know you know how to handle complacency. Always give more than you expect to receive. This is what generates true happiness and true wealth. And then here, I'll end it with a few fantastic quotes throughout the book. To follow without halt one aim, there's the secret to success. It's by Anna Pavlova, famous tennis player, I believe. And for every disciplined effort, there is a multiple reward. Absolutely love that. Keep being disciplined and you'll see rewards in multiple areas of your life. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in this. Henry Ford, beautiful quote. And then again, there's no expedient to which a man will not go to avoid the real labor of thinking, by Thomas Edison. At first, I didn't really understand this because I love to think. It is hard work to really clarify your goals, your vision, and really think about problems deeply. So I didn't really understand it, but then I realized, oh, a lot of people do avoid thinking. So good tip. Think, engage in the hardest work possible. Guys, that's it for Unlimited Power. Thank you for staying with me. This is a long one. This is the book I've taken the most notes on, hands down. Great book. Really changed my life. Guys, if you thought this was valuable, hit the like button, subscribe, and keep on learning, keep on growing. I got 150 books coming at you this year. Keep on watching these videos. Keep coming back for more. Thank you. Have a good day.
So lifelong learning and reading books is just one part of Sticky Habits University and Discipline 101. Imagine kicking all your bad habits to the curb, and imagine how successful you'd feel after implementing 10 new healthy habits. After enrolling in Discipline 101, my new course, that's how you'll feel every single day. Living like this changed my life. Go check it out.